Where's in Discord? I don't see it. Am I tripping?
In general.
In general for okay.
Discord. General. Yeah. No, not that one.
Yeah.
Capitan FTW.
No, it's in general. It's in general.
Whoops. I put the wrong one. Sorry. Wait.
Is Koi here for real? Is this guy's real player now? Koi Gonzalez. We're racing against every.
Look at the next one.
All right, so.
Wait, we have 4 people in the chat. Koi's tripping.
Koi's here.
In the wrong chat. It's a Koi join. All right, let's wait till everyone joins, then we can hit join race. We can just do one. Go. Maya, you can type. Yeah. Alright, is everyone hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? I'm joining. Okay, let's wait for mine. There's this famous article about how fast is it? I forgot who wrote that. Putting more, here we go. There's a famous article about this. We are typists first, programmers second.
I don't know why my computer is so slow.
Oh, wait, what happened?
Am I supposed to click this button first, right?
Wait, what happened? You hit what happened? You just don't hit the join race button. Yeah, wait till everyone's in. Oh my god. Okay, let's wait till the next race.
Wait.
Are we going?
No, not yet. No one hit the join race button.
I had already clicked it. I don't know if that's obvious. Earlier I clicked it already. Fuck, man. My bad.
Okay, I'm logging in on Discord.
Okay, now it's gonna start.
Wait.
Okay, we've got 10 seconds left, right? 10, 9.
So what do we do? Like.
So okay, wait till the race is over, and then you can click join race at the bottom.
Guys, in just a second, we're gonna type here where it's blinking. Okay, where it says here, type here, right? And the text above is what we're typing. So right now we can see the scores. In just a moment, they're gonna see like join race, but don't click it yet. I clicked it earlier, and I think that started the race.
Now you can click it.
Okay, so are you guys ready? Everyone's ready in the chat, right?
1 sec, I just gotta.
Okay, join race. Hit join race.
And go. Fucking
Okay, join race.
Which link is it? Play type car racer.
Fuck. You can type here.
So how to join race? Is that what I do?
Oh my god, this one's so long.
Fuck, man.
It's pretty long.
Who's number one? You, Charles? I finished third.
You got second. Oh, you got third. You second? Oh, you got
I think I'm the worst one because I don't know why, I cannot type more.
I should flex some errors.
Don't.
I have to go back.
Yeah. Are we?
Which place are you, Sean? Are you fourth? Huh?
Do it one more time.
What does it say our words per minute? I don't see it.
You're 74.
What does it say words per minute? Alright, you guys want to do it again? Fuck it. Charles wants to prove how badass he is. I can't click it now. Okay, guys, the race is about to start.
Are we typing again?
Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't know what place I'm in. Second, sup? Damn, this type Charles, man. I only type with 3 fingers. I only like these 3 fingers.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Actually, never mind. I use my thumbs for the space bar. 4 fingers. Did you actually take a class and shit, Charles? You just like naturally got it. Whenever I've like read a book on like those things where they say put your fingers here, I feel so fucking uncomfortable putting my fingers in the place where they tell you to. You know what I'm talking
That's fine. I thank you for running.
about? Charles so stupid.
I think most programmers type at least 70 words per minute.
Yeah. Okay, guys, that was fun. We all know who's on top now. So back to it. This is what we're building, guys. We're building an app where the user can just start typing, the bolding, flanks, blah, 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 blah. Okay? But the most important thing is that we're going to get this data. Oops. We're going to get this data from our API, which is living where? Oops. So we can see that one of our APIs here, this is where our Flask application is running. You just run Flask run, it opens. So you guys know that whenever we open this, it'll tell us to port the domain and the port that it's living on. So we can see that this does not work, but there is something called excerpts. That's the route that we're defining. Obviously, you guys can read this in the instructions, okay? Additionally, we have a React application running, right? So you can do npm start, and that's going to run this right here. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and close both of these. Okay, so I'm gonna deactivate. I'm gonna create a new folder. Am I recording? Yes, I'm recording. We're gonna create a new folder. We're gonna call it typing test. Typing game. Okay, so we're gonna move into the typing game. And I'm gonna create 2 new folders. I'm gonna call one of them typing server. So we move into typing server. I'm gonna open up a new panel and move out, okay? So on our left, we're gonna have our server that's running our API. On the right, we're gonna have our client. So where can we get this client? We're gonna jump over to our instructions and find a URL. It's right here. So we're going to clone this. We open up our GitHub, get the URL, and then say, hey, git clone. And because I don't like the name of this project, React Typing Retouch, I'm gonna call it Typing Client. Yeah, Typing Client sounds good. Oops, spelled it wrong. Whatever. So obviously where it was just working, if I refresh the page right now, it's going to say, it's going to complain. The site cannot be reached because we're not running the server yet. So I'm going to close all these windows. Once the project has been made, what are we going to see inside of here, guys? Once we cloned, we just cloned, right? We should see what? 2 folders, right? One is the client, one is the server. So we're going to move into our typing client. Okay, and you guys can see that it changes to master, which means that this is a Git repository. So now we can run npm install to get our libraries. Remember, it's just from React, okay? We did this through weeks 3 through 6. Okay, so I believe now we can run npm start. So we should see our client open up and working on our browser. And we do in fact see that. The enormous room on the ground floor. I'm gonna open up another tab, open up the code, and you guys can see there's nothing magical in here. There's a source file, there's an app.js, there's some hold on. There's nothing magical here. All we have is a app component, which has some state in it, and then we have a whole bunch of different methods, right? For example, the render method. Hope you guys haven't forgot React. Who here has forgotten React in the last couple weeks? Come on, guys. Please don't tell me that. please don't lie to me, okay? Come on. We all know what this does, okay? All right, it isn't too complicated. Just a couple functions, man, and it's just passing some data back and forth, okay? High-level overview. Remember what I told you? Our applications is just like electricity in a building, okay? The electricity can come from multiple places, right? I remember talking about that in the first couple weeks, right? Electricity could come from a solar panel, right? We could have a generator. Big buildings typically have generators, like hospitals and stuff, just in case, like if the street power goes out, it can get power to its essential services, right? So now, like in this analogy, our data is the electricity. It's flowing back and forth in our React application. Additionally, I remember whenever I was talking about React in weeks 3 through 6, I told you guys are gonna learn how to build APIs, right? How can we build an API that can support a React application? So now we're getting a higher level understanding of where the electricity is coming from, where the data is eventually going to come from, okay? And then to prove that to you, we're gonna use Postman. So right now, if we make a request, excerpts, oh, that's what excerpts, a GET request to localhost 5000 excerpts, we're gonna see we could not get any response. That's why, guys. Why? Because we're not running a Flask, we're not running an API, right? We need to run an API. So we're going to do the initial setup. And I never remember this. What command do I gotta run now? Is it activate? Source? No, I need to create that folder. How do I create that folder? Yeah, this one right here? Is this right? This? Like that?
Yeah, no, you had the and
Like that, right?
yeah.
Fuck. Yeah? Okay, so we're now setting up our environment. Now we're gonna source it. So we're gonna source our environment. Okay, so now I'm gonna create an app.py. And we're gonna open up our code editor, right? So we open up our app.py. I'm going to just copy and paste some code over because I don't want to make you guys watch me type. You know, I don't want to run into errors. So here's some initial setup code. Oh, maybe not all of this. Okay, here, hold on. Let's just get the. Okay, let me just get the most important things real quick. So we're gonna import Flask first, okay? That seems good. And then we're gonna do the whole defining below. We're going to say if name is equal to main app.run debug is equal to true, right? So what else do we need here? We need to have a route, right? App.route. We're gonna say just say slash, okay? And this is going to accept methods of get for right now. And then remember, we need to define a route. So we're gonna say home, okay? And what is this going to do? So exactly. You guys see that we imported this library. This is the simplest example of how we can do this right now. My bad, I kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but just know that there's a library or there's a function inside of Flask called JSONify, and we can call it, right? So inside this method, our home method, we're going to return. We're going to return JSONify, and we'll call it. And then what can we pass in here? I'm gonna pass it an array. It's an array. So I'm gonna say hello. No, what's this say? Food bar. Yeah. Okay, my expectation now is that we can hit this endpoint. And if we've done everything correctly, we should be able to hit this endpoint and get foo bar back from our API. Okay? Who here understand what I just say? Phone, what I just say? Who can help her out? What did I just say? What is my expectation right now, looking at this code?
We don't have key value.
I actually fucked something up. I forgot this part. Okay, we don't have key value. Say again.
We don't have the key and value as in like normal JSON.
So JSON does not always have to be having a key and a value. Sometimes it can just be an array. I think it'll automatically do it for us. Find out in a second, okay? I forgot line 3. I forgot line 3. We need to do that part. So now we're going to do what? We're going to say Flask run. Okay, so we see that this is running at port 127.0.0.1 5000. Okay, so let's just test our API. Did we hit our API, guys? Did we hit it? We hit an API, but we did not hit the correct API, right? So we can go here. We'll save it. Oops, not save it. We'll send it. And what do we get back?
Who's on the right line?
Foo bar, right? So that's the simplest example of how we can build an API using Flask, right? But I don't want you guys to do only this, right? What else do we need to have here? You have like class score. Oh, my bad. So in this API, we want to have 2 routes, okay, guys? High level overview. One of them, we want to be able to get a list of what? A list of these things, man. Words, sentences, okay? We're going to go to an API. We're going to get a list of typing scores, and then we're going to look at our React code, okay? To be honest with you, the answer is in the instructions. We've already told you where you need to look inside of here, okay? Look inside of here, and then the appropriate step, fire a request to the API to post the score. So, what does that mean? So notice how when we're typing in the effects, the sultry darkness into which the students now followed him was visible and crimson like the darkness. Darkness of closed eyes on a summer's afternoon.
It's some Shakespeare stuff. It's so dark.
I don't know where this is coming from. But just notice the behavior, okay, guys? As soon as we completed this exercise, the application changed its state. It told us how much time it took, how many words per minute, and how many errors that we had, okay? So I promise you, all you gotta do is just kind of click around. Yeah, I promise you that's all you gotta do is just read it. Just read the code, okay? Ask yourself, what is this function doing? Read the name of the function, okay? Double click it. Do Control D, okay? Control D, it's gonna show you where this function is being called, okay? So we're gonna find out where this thing is, how this is firing. And basically, whenever this is all said and done, we're going to make a post request to our API to create a new score. What is that? I don't know how to do this, guys. Someone help me out. I suck at Flask. How are we supposed to create a new score, guys?
Four?
Hmm?
Four?
Class. Okay, I know. Score. Let me just go in here. dbo.model. Something like that, right?
No, model with an E.
Modal, my bad. E. We say ID is equal to db.column and then db.integer. I'm gonna have a score. This one's primary key, right? Something like that. Primary key. I always forget the syntax, man. To be honest with you, let me just look at my other code. Something like that, guys. We also need to do some setup for our database, okay? So I know that you guys, once again, I pride myself on listening to feedback. I want to see you guys set this up right now, and then we'll move forward, okay? So actually here, let me do one more step before we let you guys work, okay? So inside of here, we have our component did mount of our React application, okay? Let's just make sure that we can call the API the way we did on Postman. Remember here? Remember we called that API, right? We have a Flask server, it's running, it's sitting there waiting for requests. We have a React application. Once it mounts, it can make a request. So let's have those two work together. So we'll jump back over to our component did mount, we'll say fetch, and then we'll get this URL. What is that? I forgot where it was. Right here. I don't know why I forgot. So we say HTTP localhost 5000. We're gonna await this, and we're gonna store it in a response. Oops. And then we say, hey, data is the response.json. But we forgot a step, right? We forgot to wait right here. Oops. Ah, God. Alright, so console.log. Loy might be gay. Okay. So if this works correctly, right? If our component did mount fires when the application loads, and we make a request to our localhost 5000, and then we successfully parse it, then Loy might be gay. Okay. So we're gonna jump back over to our application, open up our console, and we're gonna refresh. And then you guys are gonna see a different problem now. Okay. This is called a course security problem. I don't know what it's called. It's a course policy. Basically, there are some security rules across the internet which prevent applications from making requests to each other in certain situations, right? In certain situations. So for example, our server is running at what? 5,000. Yeah, right? This would also look localhost 5000 also works. But our React application is working at localhost 3000. Basically, we don't want applications to be able to call each other from different URLs. It's a security problem. Okay, if you guys want to research this, there are books written on this too. Okay, or not, maybe not books, but huge articles. Every single time I've read about this, I've found 1,000 articles explaining all the different problems that are going on here. Okay, so just know that this is a problem, and we're gonna solve it right now. So, So in order to fix this, we're gonna stop our server, and then we're gonna look at some documentation. Flask course. Fuck. Okay, let's just try this. Let's just try to install, okay? Pip install. Okay, I already got it. This is the command right here. Pip install dash capital U Flask cores. Okay, we're gonna run that. And then we're going to import it. Oh shit, man, can I import? Oh fuck, I can't get it now. Okay, whatever, man. Let's just pause it. I've been talking for 30 minutes. You guys saw what I said. You got it running. You get it running. The React application is running. Our server is running. So now the objective is that we want what to happen. We want this thing on the right here. This thing on the right. We want it to make a request to our server. Okay? So right now I'm going to clear our server logs. I'm just going to give myself some space to prove that we've hit this endpoint. Okay? So we'll go back to our front end application, our client. We're looking at our client. Okay? We're going to open up our browser, and we're going to notice that whenever we make a request to localhost 5000, we get a complaint. It's saying that we're not allowed to do that. So what we're going to do is stop our server. We're going to run pip install that command, blah, blah, blah. It ran already. Now we're going to import it. So you guys just run this line up here. Next thing we're going to do is below app, we're going to run course and pass it app. So obviously course is a function right here, right? When we call it, we're going to pass the app variable. This is what's known as a destructive function call. It's going to change apps in a little bit. It's going to do something to it. And you guys have been doing this a lot. We just haven't talked about it in detail. I want you guys to know, understand a more high level thought. Okay? App on line 4 is different than app. Oops. Right here. Why? Because when we call course right here and we pass it the app object, it's going to affect it. It's just going to change it a little bit. Okay, so we need to do one more thing. We're gonna do course. We're gonna define a new variable called course, and then we're gonna run the function called course again, and pass it some arguments, obviously. So we'll call course. We'll pass it app. We're gonna pass it another argument called resources, and we're gonna pass it some, some magical stuff here. Origins, except all. Oops. If I told you guys to Google this, you guys would just find the exact same thing. You could just copy and paste it into your application, okay? So this is just something that I think we have to memorize. Okay, so I believe that should work. Oops. So now we're going to start our application. So Flask run. I did something wrong here. Did something wrong. Course, resources. Okay, my bad. We pass, this is what happens whenever I don't copy and paste, I typo, okay? What we're passing right here is not an array. What is that? Huh? It's an object or a dictionary in Python, okay? So now I expect that we should be able to run it. Okay, so now that we fixed that typo, we can run our application, and the expectation now is that whenever we refresh this page, that this error goes away. And does it go away?
Yeah.
What is this coming from, guys? What's going right here? What's that say right there? Someone read this for me. Sean, that's offensive, okay? I'm just kidding. The objective here is to what? Why can't I? Yes, we're calling an API. Whose API are we calling, guys?
Our own or yours?
Yes, we're calling our own API. Nice. Someone's paying attention, Maya. Thank you. Paying attention. Okay, so look, we're calling our own API. We're parsing the response, and then we're just console logging it. Okay, we're gonna add one more thing. Maya is paying attention. Nice. Okay, so we're gonna refresh our application, and we see that that error went away, and then we also see what? What are we looking at here on the left, guys? What is this? Is this just random things that I just throw on the screen for no reason? Okay, what is this? What is all this telling us? This is our server log. This is our diary. Yeah, this is writing down what's happened on our server. Okay, so we notice that whenever we refresh this application, once again, our server is receiving a hit. It's making someone's requesting data from our API. In a moment, we're gonna follow the instructions and we're gonna find. Actually, I saw that you guys did a better job than me of following the instructions. So you guys need to define something here called excerpts. Excerpts. Users can get data from it, and it's going to return something here, right? But we're not just going to return a hard-coded array like this, right? What are we gonna do? Excerpts.query.all. Okay. And is this going to work right now?
No,
Why is this not going to work?
because on line 18 you're missing an R.
Line 18, I'm missing an R.
Is it excerpts? Yeah, excerpts. Okay.
Excerpts. Okay. Now will it work?
No.
Why won't it work right now?
Because you're missing something. We don't.
What am I missing right now?
We don't have
Excerpt class.
Exactly. We don't have an excerpt class, that means we don't have a table, which means that when we try to query, it's going to complain. I guarantee it. Okay? So I want you guys to fix this problem. You guys spent the last 2 weeks around in Flask. Fix this problem for me. I promise you, it's gonna look a little something like this. Okay? So we're gonna go down here. We'll say something like this. Excerpt, right? Something like this, and then it's gonna say body, maybe, right? Blah blah blah. We fix that. Okay? Obviously, if we're gonna fix that, what else do we need to do?
Wait. DB has to be a string, I think. The body.
Yes, I know. This is an example. Okay? I'm not doing it perfectly right now. I just want you guys thinking about this. Okay? We need to define some classes, and we're also going to define one more class called score. And eventually, we're going to do. What are we going to do, guys? Post score. That's going to be a get post. Okay? Something like that. Okay? And the objective is what? We got a score. Are we going to hard code a return here? No, we're not going to do that. Okay? Promise you, we're not going to do that. But what we are going to do is we're going to get our applications to work together. So once again, like I said, once you guys read the instructions, you guys will see that there is a place that there's a specific place that will trigger when completed. So I'm going to double click this right here in our state. I'm just going to do Control D and find the place where we update this. So look at this. There's even a nice comment for us. So when I'm telling you what's going to happen on line 4, basically what this if-else conditional is saying is that, hey, when the user's done typing the excerpt, this will fire. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, everyone? Huh? But inside of here, what else do we want to do? We're going to do a fetch. We're going to go to what? HTTP, localhost, 5000. What? I forgot what it was. Post score. Post score. Okay? Is that good enough? We need more because we need to make a post request. Post request MDM. Mozilla developers, blah, blah, blah. Remember what Charles was talking about just a few moments ago, okay? REST, right? We need to know how to make different types of REST requests. Fetch, post, example. So we're gonna Google a bit because we didn't spend too much time memorizing this stuff that's not that important. So I can just tell you it's an object. There's a method post right here, okay? Watch this. So we're gonna go back over here. I think this will work. I don't know, to be honest with you. I think these are the two that we need. It's a post request. We're just gonna say score. Score is sometime. Alright, let's just actually put it in a real number. 71 words per minute, okay? This can get more complicated now that I think about it. Words per minute could have words per minute, and it could have time, right? because the time it takes to complete each excerpt, for example, so let's just say 60 seconds. I don't know. That seems good. Okay, so what am I trying to do? What's the objective here? Now I want to test to make sure that I can make a post request to the server when the user has finished typing. Okay? So my expectation is that this will probably work now. So we're gonna go back to our app. We're gonna test it. Bolding flanks of row on receding row and tier above tier of, I can't read this, bottles flinted with enumerable rubies, and sorry guys, you guys have to deal with this for a little bit. Among the rubies move the dim red specters of men and women with purple eyes and all the symptoms of lupus. The hum and rattle of machinery faintly stirred the air. Okay, so did we get back what we wanted? Did we make a post? Our server wrote down that we made a post, right?
But it can't find it or something because it says 404.
The issue here is that what? No score excerpts. Return JSON file. Why didn't we? The server responded with the status of 404 not found. Interesting. What's wrong here, guys? Why didn't I understand this? Why isn't my keyboard not working? What the fuck? That's interesting. Why did it say it couldn't find anything? We made a post request. Okay, long story short, let's just stay focused. Once the user finishes typing, as we can see here by our UI, where it gives us a time, a words per minute, and an errors, we're going to take that data and we're going to pass it from our React application to our backend API, right? We're going to take it from our React application, the client, and we're going to pass it to our Flask application, and we're going to store it. Okay, we're going to store it in SQL Alchemy. Okay, guys?
Wait, okay, so we're storing it in SQL Alchemy using Flask, but we're also doing React? Or?
Correct.
Okay.
So you guys can see that the domain is quite big. We got a bunch of different things that we need to do. Okay? Do we have any more questions before we break for lunch? That's the objective of today's class.
What are the problems that might come up when you use React, Flask, and SQL Alchemy at the same time?
There are an infinite number of problems that could come up.
Okay.
If you type something wrong, let's just say that we type from wrong. Do we have a problem?
Yeah.
What if instead of a U, I put a 1 there? Do we have a problem? There are many, many problems you guys can have. That's the objective of doing this lab, so that we can get a feel for them and learn how to fix them. All right, so that's it. That's another 15 minutes.